Hello, Rebel, and welcome to the REL Division 8 Week 9 recap. My name's Big Chuck, and I'll be covering again this week, the Week 9 action. So just diving right on into it. First matchup we had, Red Runt Rage versus Orcsploitation Cinema. Yep was actually able to pull out the draw here against the Orcs. I think anytime a stunty team is able to pull out that draw, that is a victory for them. I know he is closing in on being able to get that Treeman repurchased. He is right now only halfling team, no trees on the roster, so this is a loner tree that he was able to induce. Looks like overall, let's see if we can take a look at some statistics here. Orcsploitation Cinema held onto the ball quite a bit more. Just was not able to convert that. This is a crazy number right here. 41 blocks to 26 blocks by Orcsploitation Cinema. That's insane to me. I really want to go back and take a look at this in game and see what happens here. I do see more damage was done by the Orcs, which is expected. I'm really wondering how this 41 blocks, succeeded blocks came to pass here. So must have been quite a crazy game. I really want to come back and take a look at this one later. Then second up, we had the Battle Brothers versus the Pananimals. This was my game for the week. This hard fought game, I made a couple of key mistakes, and my opponent played a great game. He was able to capitalize on those couple of key mistakes I had. Turned me over, scored. Wasn't able to score on my half. Was able to score on his half, but he did turn me over and prevent me from scoring. So very, very well done on the Bretonian's part. Very hard to deal with the amount of tackle that he has as a team that's looking to rely on all its blodge, and there's just tackle everywhere on this team. So tackle and wrestle. So able to take down those blodging players and really make it a nightmare to play against. Well done by him. Hausdorff's Homewreckers versus the One Cheese manages to get a tie, which does bring the One Cheese down into second place from that first place tie that he managed to get into last week. Looks like statistics wise, a lot of armor breaks against the Rats, which is expected. But whenever we look at the injuries inflicted, 4 injuries inflicted, 1 kill inflicted, we'll have to take a look, and let's take a look at that roster there for the Rats and see if they sustained any permanent damage. So we're looking for the One Cheese, which is right here, 1560. We still have all the gutters. I don't see... I'm assuming that we just lost a line rat here then, so no major damage to the team's development long term. This team's looking in very good shape. This is right where you want your rats to be. So, but despite the damage that was done, looks like we were able to get the draw, and that does really impact the top of the table. Then we had Shadora Street Sharks versus the Rock'em Sock'ems. Looking here, the Street Sharks held onto the ball 75% of the game, 56% occupation in the opponent's half. You can tell the 44 blocks succeeded versus the 27 blocks succeeded. I think this is just the story of a hugely developed Lizardman team just being really hard to deal with. Was obviously able to turn over that ball, take possession, and just dominate the field as Lizards are wont to do. Then we have the Nighthaunt versus the Broken Boys. We had a very, very close match here, obviously. 16 armor breaks to 18 armor breaks. 1-1 results. Unfortunately, it looks like the MVP going to a dirty player. That's not where you want that. And an MVP going to a skeleton. That's not where you want that either on either of these teams. Hurts the development a little bit. But overall, very, very close game. And this is kind of exactly what you expect to see. They both were able to put up a hard-fought game and came out with the draw. Count on Us versus Oathblow. Oathblow looks like was able to come away with the victory. Taking a look at the statistics for this matchup, looks like Oathblow was able to turn their opponent over and occupy the ball on their opponent's half, which I'd have to go back and watch that game to see, but looking here, 60 blocks versus 29 blocks, they were just in there making tons of hits. So I would expect that. Let's take a look at those stats one more time. Yeah, 6 KOs, 3 injuries inflicted. I'm guessing that we saw a lot of thralls off the field, and once you get some of those thralls off the field, it gets very hard for the vampires to be able to maneuver around the pitch and do the kind of vampire things they want to do. So well done by Oathblow there. Gigolo House versus Gotta Catch 'Em All. Steak Mittens pulling off the much-needed win to stay at the top of the table, picking up an MVP on his extremely well-developed warrior. And we also have MVP on the Agi-up lineman that did get him the level, so this is an important piece of development on Moonshine here. I will be interested to take a look here in just a moment and see what skill Moonshine went with for his level up. Statistics, looking here, yep, the Nurgle team did its Nurgle thing. 5 KOs inflicted, 2 injuries inflicted, 1 kill inflicted. We're going to have to take a look and see what that kill was. Hopefully nothing too bad for the Wood Elf team. I know that team has taken quite a beating through the season, which happens to Wood Elves. That Armor 7 doesn't always hold up for you, so that can really... that can be a pain to get your development going whenever you keep having players break on you. So we're hoping that he was able to not sustain any major losses. I'm seeing both the War Dancers are still there, the tree's still there. Looks like we did pick up an injury here on a War Dancer, which is just a miss next game, so he'll be fine in the long term. Seeing 2 catchers here, which is I think is what it was. The thrower's still here, so it looks like it was most likely a lineman that did not make it out. The Agi 5 lineman did pick up Leap as his piece of development. Agi 5 Leap, this is essentially just adding a third War Dancer to the team, and this War Dancer makes his leaps on a 2+, so this is a great piece. Really would want to see some focus on getting Moonshine developed. Just having these threats all over the field that can go wherever they want, do whatever they want, is really just a great asset to have. So this team is really looking like it's going as long as these War Dancers stay healthy, maybe a little more development on the catchers, and definitely some more development on Moonshine. This team will be well positioned next season to make a really good run at things. So that covers the recap of Week 9. Let's take a look at Week 10 and see what kind of games we have coming up this week. We have Red Runt Rage versus Oathblow. That's going to be a tough game for the Halflings. The Oathblow team really good at dishing out the damage. Those Norse really like getting all their punches in, and but that said, that is where Hyup Yup likes to be. He is going to have all the inducements in the world that he wants. He's going to be able to induce those trees and maybe put some more halfling pressure onto this Norse team. We've got the Broken Boys versus Gotta Catch 'Em All. Important for Steak Mittens to take down this game against the Broken Boys. At this point, Steak Mittens is keeping the pressure on the leaderboard of Shadora and Rex Longbone. Those two are in first and second, and Steak Mittens is right behind them in third. So our playoff race between those three right at the moment, Other players still not out of it, but at the moment, those top three really have a tight race, and every game matters. So he is looking for the victory against the Broken Boys. Going to really hope that claw comes into play, takes out some orcs early, and goes from there. Then we've got the Rock'em Sock'ems versus Gigolo House. This is going to be a elf off. We've got the Dark Elf team versus the Wood Elf team. The Dark Elf team is going to have a little bit more guard. They're going to be looking to be playing the bash side of things, while the Wood Elf team really has the ability to be the elfier elf. So Gigolo House going to be looking to run up the scoreboard. We'll see how that works out in the next upcoming week. Then we've got the One Cheese versus Count on Us. One Cheese really, in his second place position, can't afford to give up any games and allow Shador to run away with it if he's able to continue his streak. So that's a big game for the One Cheese versus the Vampires. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup. I've never personally played this matchup, so I'm not sure how that works. I'm assuming that what the Rat team is going to try to do is just stay away from the Vampires, try and screen and run around them and just dodge away and just try and be a faster running team. You really struggle to cage up versus Vampires because they're able to run up, do that gaze, and then just drop right into your cage and hit those 2-strength gutter runners if you're carrying with a gutter. So you're really going to have to focus on that running game or perhaps a passing game depending on his preferred method of getting the ball down the field. Count on Us, going to be looking to turn over the Rats, use that hypnotic gaze to its best effect, and get those easy 2 and 3 die hits on the gutter runners. If the Vampires are able to neutralize those gutter runners before they're able to get downfield and get into position, then he'll really be able to put some pressure on the One Cheese. Then next up we have the Pananimals versus the Night Haunt. This is my matchup. I'm the Dark Elves versus the Night Haunt's Undead. I think from my perspective, I am going to be looking to get in any surfs I can because that's my favorite thing in the world to do, and really just be the elf team in this matchup. I'm going to try to run down the field, score quickly, do that kind of thing, while I think the Night Haunt's path to victory is obviously just going down the bashing path. If he can eliminate some of my elves, I am on a limited roster, so if he's able to take down a couple of those elves early on, I can really struggle to move that ball and have enough elves to screen the way I would like to. So this is really a classic matchup, the bash versus the elf, and we'll see if I'm able to get down the field or if he's able to stop me cold and walk a few easy ones in with some ghouls. Then we have the Street Sharks versus Orcsploitation Cinema. So Shadora back in first place. Has been comfortably in first place the entire season. Last week dropped down to second place, but has regained that title with Steak Mittens tying the One Cheese. So Street Sharks really looking to try and come out ahead in this matchup. Now that said, the Lizards don't have an easy time of getting their bully bash game on versus the Orcs. So this will be a very positional bash game. We're going to see if the Orcs can outbash those Street Sharks, if they can get in a couple of key fouls, take down a couple of those important Saurus early on. The Sharks can really struggle if they drop down a couple of Saurus, because at that point they replace those Saurus with Skinks and they really struggle in the strength advantage department. So Orcsploitation Cinema will be looking to try and get a couple of those Saurus off the pitch. Meanwhile, the Street Sharks, they're going to be looking to score early, get those points in while they still have all their pieces on, and hopefully just play a good positional game. Don't allow the Orcs to get too many hits in, and just keep a solid line of Saurus staying on the field and not exposing too much for that damage. And then our final matchup of Week 10, Battle Brothers versus Hausdorff Homewreckers. This is the Chaos Dwarves versus the Bretonian team. This is going to be a very, very interesting matchup. It is lots of guard, lots of Fend versus Dwarves with lots of guard, lots of tackle to take down those blitzers. So this is going to be a very positional game. I don't think either team is in a great position to just straight up outbash the other. Both teams good fouling teams, so this is going to be about who can maintain good position on the field, get a key piece down on the ground, and then foul it out of there. So that'll be a very not just a straightforward bash game. That'll be a very interesting game to watch. That's one I'm going to try and see if I can catch whenever that gets scheduled. So very very interesting week coming up. Taking a look at the leaderboard, as I've mentioned a little bit, we have Shadora's Street Sharks sitting at the top of the leaderboard, followed by the One Cheese and Steak Mittens. That is our really, really tight top three. Now, that said, everyone down the leaderboard still can make it into the playoffs. We still have 12 points on the table for the last 4 weeks of this division. So, with 12 points on the table, any of these teams, if they win out their games, could theoretically overcome and take down that first spot. So just because you're not in that top contention at the moment, just win out those games, and this picture can change very quickly over the next few weeks. So hopefully next week I will be able to take a bit more time, have a guest on to bounce off some of this commentary with, have a little bit more back and forth. I wanted to get this one out early in the week, so went ahead and did a quick solo recording. If anyone is interested in coming on, and I have had a couple of people reach out to me and say they are interested, I'm going to see what everyone's schedule is like for next week, and hopefully have a little more dynamic of a recap next week. So that said, I appreciate everyone, and have a good week, and have some good Blood Bowl matches.